Okay, so in this lesson we're going to look at slightly more complex ratio into fractions problems, and this requires you to use your skill of making a ratio into a fraction, but then there are several more steps to answering the question. Now, don't forget these key points, okay? Always make them into a fraction first if you can, and once they are fractions, you can find a fraction of another fraction by multiplying them. This might not seem clear right now, but multiplying these two fractions is key to answering these style questions. So let's look at some examples together. Question 1. In a cinema, the ratio of adults to children is 3:1. The ratio of boys to girls is 3:2. So if we're thinking about it, this is adults, this is children, and boys and girls are only applying to the children. So this one here, whatever that represents, is then being split into the ratio 3:2, okay? So what we're trying to find is the fraction of all the people that are girls. So children, girls, yeah? Not women, because women would be adults, just girls. So fraction of the total people. So first things first, we know that we're talking about the children here, not the adults. And the fraction of children, you know, is 1 out of 4. 4 because that's the total number of parts. So a quarter of all the people in the cinema are children, okay? Now we want to know what fraction of the children are girls. So looking at this ratio, we know that girls is 2/5. And again, we get the 5 because 3 over 2 is 5. That's the total for that ratio. So 2/5 of the children are girls. So what you're essentially trying to find is 2/5 of 1/4. Okay? 2/5 are girls, and it's 2/5 of the quarter of the people, because that's how many are children. Now, this is where your key point comes in. You can find a fraction of another fraction by multiplying them. So to find 2/5 of anything, you multiply it. And you know that with multiplying fractions, you just do 2 times 1 is 2, 5 times 4 is 20. Okay? So your answer is 2/20. If you wanted to simplify it, that becomes 1/10. So 1/10 of all the people in the cinema are girls, and that's your final answer. So quick recap. Think about which part of the ratios you want, make them into fractions, and then multiply them together. Let's look at one more. In a theatre, the ratio of adults to children is 7:3. The ratio of boys to girls is 3:2. What percentage of all the people in the theatre are girls? So the only difference with this one is they've asked for a percentage, but we're going to make it into a fraction first, okay? And then it's just that last step that we make it into a percentage. So again, we're talking about girls, so that's children that are girls. So again, we want children. The fraction will be 3/10, 10 because the total is 10. So 3/10 of all the people are children. And we're talking about girls. Girls, the fraction is 2/5. So 2/5 of 3/10 is what we're looking for here. But again, same as before, we have to multiply them to work it out. So you end up with 6/50. So if we're going to make this into a percentage, that's our final stage, we have to make it out of 100. How do you get from 50 to 100? You double it. Do the same to the numerator. You get 12 out of 100, which is 12%. And that is your final answer. So as a fraction, the fraction of all the people in the theatre that are girls is 6/50. And as a percentage, that's the same as 12%. And that's your final answer. So make sure that you've got those written down, that you've understood. And then have a go at this question on your own. Pause the video, come back to see if you've got it correct. So firstly, the number of female to male workers can be written in the ratio 3:5. The number of women aged 30 or over to the number of women under 30 can be written in the ratio 3:2. What fraction of the people working at the company are women over the age of 30? So going back to the start, female to male. So we want females, because that's what we're talking about. Women over the age of 30. So females at the beginning, so we're talking about the 3, so that as a fraction is 3/8. So 3/8 of the people in the company are female. What we're looking for is how many of these females are over the age of 30, okay? So age 30 or over is 3 in the ratio, so that's going to be 3/5. 5 because these two are the total. Okay? So we want 3/5 of 3/8. So we would do 3/5 times 3/8, which is 9/40. Double check we've answered the question. Is it a fraction? Yep. Are these women? Yep. Over the age of 30? Yep. All done. So make sure you've got that corrected and then move on to the exit card.